Hey guys, it's your Creative Queen. Welcome to Create with Creative Queen, home of Tutorial Tuesday. Before we dive into today's fun, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you'll never miss a new tutorial. From cakes and cookies to film projects and treats, we've got everything to spark your creativity. Let's get creative and make something amazing together. Hey guys, we are back, and today we are going to do an 8.5 by 11 vending machine. This one's going to be a little bit different. It was a happy accident. I actually cut it differently and then realized, hey, you didn't prepare to have the side open, so I cut a flap in the back. So I made a template, and here we are. Let's get started. So there are going to be 5 pages in this template. You're going to have your front page. You're going to have your back page, which is also going to have the design for the cutout. You're going to have your inside and top panels, and then you're going to have a back inside page. This page you do not want to put on foam. You want to set it aside, and we'll get back to that later. You're also going to have your 2 side panels, which I did not realize were not in my original stack at this point. So once we get to that, you'll see those when I get ready to put them on foam. But we're just going to go ahead and start by applying these 3 pages, which will actually be 4 pages because we're going to do the side panels as well, to our foam, and then we're going to cut them out. So I'm going to speed this part up, but we're just going to start by pulling back a little bit of the sticker paper, pressing it down, and then slowly smooth the rest out. And then I use the bottom, the transfer sheet, on top, and I will squeegee out any bubbles. So guys, if you go too fast, you may accidentally get a crease like I did. If you can slowly lift it up, hopefully you can release that crease, and then just use that transfer from the back to smooth it over and squeegee. And then hopefully you did not mess up your paper. It's really going to depend on the paper. Koala Glossy is pretty forgiving, so there were no issues with the paper once I smoothed it back down. Because this is a smaller design, an 8.5 by 11 typically will only have 1 shelf inside. So I like to have like part of the design show through. So when you're looking inside, you will see the Tetris design for this one. So I thought that was really cute just to put that 1 shelf with the design color. So now I'm just going to go ahead and separate some of this so it makes it easier to cut. Remember, you want to cut with your dominant hand, applying pressure, and the best way to do that is to position the pieces in the nicest, easiest position for yourself. So sometimes it's going to take cutting it down in order to make sure that you can angle it in a way where it's going to make it easy for you to cut. So that's why you'll see me cut it really weird, but that's just so that I can get the best position and still record in order to show you guys how to cut it. So we're going to use that ruler with the cork backing, and you're going to line it up and then cut off all the excess white space from your design. All right, now that we've got those pieces on, we are going to take our back panel, we're going to flip it over, and we're going to add that inside design. This is completely optional, but again, I like when you're looking through the design, if it's empty and doesn't have candy in it, that you're not just seeing a blank canvas. So I like to always go the extra mile and add a little bit inside, so it just gives it more visual. And when it's empty, it'll look like it's a game is playing. So I'm going to peel back a corner and then gently smooth it out. All right, so now that we've got that set up, we're just going to continue to cut out the rest of our pieces. And once we get everything cut out, we will meet for assembly. So at this point, go ahead and turn your glue gun on if you haven't already, because by the time we get done cutting out, we should be ready to start assembly. And guys, I did want to mention that your template does not come with the bottom panel, which is the exact same size as the top panel and the inside panel. That's going to be 8 inches by 3.75 inches. So you just want to use one of your other pieces to trace and cut that piece out. So that's what I'm doing here. It's 8 inches by 3.75 inches. And here go those side panels that we talked about. So go ahead and just do the same, guys. Put those onto a piece of foam. You can cut out that excess white space if you choose, but it's not that much, so I left it on there. Peel back a corner and smooth it onto your foam. So all in all, this project for one should take less than one 20 by 30 foam board. All right, we got everything cut out. So now we just want to cut the front panel and the flap out of our front piece. And then we will be ready to assemble at our window and piece this together. So we're going to pop my glove back on, and we are going to use the greenish hue or the greenish ombre window on here to cut out our piece where we're going to put our cellophane or our acrylic sheet, acetate sheet. Sorry, guys. So I'm just cutting it out. I'm using the green as a guide as to where I can cut. And you want to do nice clean cuts straight through. Apply as much pressure as you can so that you go through on the first cut. You may have to go back and touch in the corners for the window, but that's totally fine. But you don't want to keep repeatedly going over the same hole because you're going to cause jagged edges. And once you're done, you should be able to just pop that window out. And now we're just going to cut out the front flap. And do remember to do this before you start assembly. It's really hard to cut that little flap out when you started assembly. So we're going to go ahead and do that first. So I'm going to start by cutting across the bottom. And then you're going to cut down your left side and your right side. Remember, we're only cutting 3 sides at this point because we are going to make this a push or a pull flap. So that's going to be up to you what you decide. On this one, I'm going to make it a push, so it pushes in. So we're cutting on the left side, the right side, and the bottom all the way across. Once we're done doing that, we will score across the top line. And that's if you want to push. If you want to pull, you will flip it over, find where your 2 lines meet on the back, and then you will score across the back. And that will make your front flap pull out. So we're going to gently score right here. And if you were making it a pull, you would do the same thing, but you would do it on the opposite side where those 2 lines meet at the top. And here I'm just going through and going over those lines because it didn't push out like I wanted it to, or push in. So I'm just making sure that it is ready to push and it won't cause any damage to the design. Okay. So give it a nice push. Just double check and make sure there's no stragglers and that your lines are cut all the way through. And then you should be able to just push it right in or pull it right out. Sometimes you have to, I use a ruler just so I don't push or pull too hard and bend my foam, especially with a small piece like this. And there we go. We've got our push. And then I'm just going to score down a little bit so that this will easily open and close. It's more important when you're pulling or you do a pull to do this than when you're doing a push because the push will kind of stay in. But when you do a pull and you want to be able to continually pull it out, you're going to have to kind of score down that window, okay? All right, guys, all pieces are prepped. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to put that acetate sheet on. I started using acetate instead of cellophane. I just like it's an easier pull, an easier install, and it looks better. So that's what I'll be using, hopefully moving forward, depending on how big the window is. But this is 12 inches. high, so I can do it on projects up to 12 inches high. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my tape runner. This is a double-sided tape runner, and I'm going to draw a rectangle, because that's not a square, around the window. And then we're just going to apply our acetate sheet. So you just want to check the sheet and make sure it doesn't have any dust or defects on it. And then you want to go ahead and apply it. This was pretty inexpensive, and that roll is really big. I will make sure that I link it in the comments or in the description as well. So just check there if you're looking for it. But I like that it gives it a nice clean view, and I'm just getting some flyaways off there. And it was easy to add on. I know some people have trouble with the cellophane. This is the easy solution, okay? And once you're done, you can trim down the excess. And guys, we are ready to assemble this. Now, we're not going to assemble, like I said, like a traditional vending machine where either the back is open or the sides are open. We are going to put this together as a gift box. And then it's going to have a rear flap that opens so that we can completely seal this box. So I'm going to put my transfer sheet down. My mat is getting pretty abused. My self-healing mat is no longer healing, so I do need another one. So in order to ensure that I'm not scratching my design, I'm going to put the transfer paper underneath it. So grab your glue gun, figure out which position your left panel or your right panel is, and let's start to glue this together. We're going to add glue all the way down one of the sides, line it up, and we're going to apply it to the top of the piece that is laying down. So that is our front of our design. So we're adding our left panel right now. And it should line up to the very edge and then meet top and bottom perfectly. You want to hold it there, and then I'm using a piece of foam just to wipe off any glue that may have squeezed out. I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same process for the right side. So just go ahead and apply your glue. And then turn your project into a position where it's going to make it easy for you to glue down. So I'm going to turn it a little just so I can see. And I'm going to apply from top to bottom. And then I'm going to press down and apply pressure until it dries. Clean off any excess glue when you see it. And now we are going to go ahead and add in our shelves. So again, guys, if you know me, I will say before you start this process, please test your pieces to make sure that they fit in. There are instances where Canva will add a 1/8 margin. It's a bleed area to your design. So always double check your prints. I usually give you the measurement of what it should be. So check to make sure that it's 8 inches. This is 8 by 3.75 before you add any glue to that. All right, so it's 8 by 3.75. I'm going to go ahead and add my glue to the bottom and to the side panels. And then I'm going to slide it in. And I want to slide it in almost right under that window so that if you're looking through the outside window, you'll be able to see that shelf and see the design on the shelf. Keep in mind that if you're using cellophane and you put hot glue on it, it may melt it a little. So you don't want to go directly under the window where you're melting your cellophane. The acetate can kind of take it, but the cellophane will probably melt with a really hot glue. And once that's in there, just give it a nice hold until it dries. All right, now we're going to do the same for the top and the bottom shelf. I got a little scratch on there because I got some sticker paper and it peeled off. So I'm just, again, going to test my measurement, making sure that it fit properly. It should line up perfectly and not be over the side pieces so that when I put my door on, it's not going to, the door won't fit if it's not cut properly. So go ahead and add your glue and then take your time and slide that piece in to the front. Front meaning the part facing you, I'm sorry. And next we're going to do our bottom area. So this is the bottom piece. Just going to go ahead and line it up again, make sure that we're good. And guys, because this is a smaller vending, you can put stuff down here or you can put another shelf. It's totally up to you how you want to use this and what you want to stuff it with. That push does not have to be used. That is again on you. So you can fill the bottom with little candies or you can put some big stuff down here too. It's about the storage and it's about the appearance. So the kid's going to love it regardless of what you put in this. So slide that in, make sure it lines up to the exact bottom, and then wipe off any excess glue. All right, we're in the home stretch. We're going to grab our back panel. This is the part that should be facing out. We are going to cut this flap out so that we can adhere the back panel to the back of this box. Okay, so we are going to cut on 3 sides. We're going to do it the same as we did the front flap. We're going to go the left side straight across and straight across the bottom. So straight across the top, down on the left, and then straight across the bottom. We're only doing 3 sides. We're going to cut completely through on 3 sides. So again, turn the design in order to help you make the cuts. And the part with the little black box is kind of your guide. That's where I'm going to put the tab. So that's your guide as to I can cut straight across the top, down on the left, and then straight across the bottom. And once you've done that and your cuts line up, now we're going to flip it over and you're going to use your ruler to line up where you can see the visible cut lines from the top and the bottom. You're going to score and make those lines meet. And then once you do that, you should be able to turn it over and pop your window out or pop your door frame. Okay. So I'm just going to cut through a little here because it was not all the way cut. And now that frame should pop right out. I'm going to add my ruler to put pressure or my hand, but we are good to go here. And now I'm just going to trim down a little bit underneath where I'm going to put that flap. This is just going to help me make sure that I don't make the space too big to close and open. So I'm just going to trim down a little bit of this, but we're going to cut it and then cover it. So no one will know that it's been trimmed down, but it just won't make by adding the cardstock, it's not going to make it too thick in order to open and close. For this, I use probably a 1 inch by, I would say 2 1/4 inch piece. And that's just so that it goes over the back and over into the front. So just cut that piece out, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but you can use that black square as your guide. It's about 1 inch by 1 inch on the back. So in order to fold it over, it should be 1 inch by, I would say, 2 1/4 inches. So now that we've got that piece cut out, I'm just going to take it, I'm going to line it up with that square, and I'm going to fold it over. It should fit perfectly, and if you're looking on the inside, it's not hanging over too much. I'm going to bend it back, and I'm going to add some glue to this piece. I'm not adding any glue to the part that's going to be on the outside. It's only what's going to cover over the middle and on the inside. That's the part we're gluing. So we're going to hold it down. I'm going to make sure I don't have too much resistance on this door because I don't want to have to pull against the product. So I'm just testing the door just to make sure it's going to open and close easily. If you need to trim down a little bit, you can shave down the design a little bit, especially towards the bottom because you cannot visibly see that. So I'm just giving it a little trim, and I realize I'm not on camera. I'm just trimming off a very little bit of it so that I can easily open and close the door. I don't want someone to have to pull so hard that they knock the machine over. So we're just trimming a little bit of it. I'm going to turn it over and trim the other side as well. And then that should be enough to where it's going to help me open that door easily. Okay. So now that we're happy with that, you should be able to lay your machine down, and this top back piece should go on perfectly. If everything was glued in the right position, then you should have no issue. It should go right on the back. Test it before you glue it, lay it down, and then grab your glue gun. And if you know your glue gun and you can go the entire outside of the design, then go ahead and do so. If you need to do piece by piece, then take your time, guys, and glue this down. But we're going to go all the way around the outside. Do not put glue on that inside piece. Remember, you have a door that's going to open. So you do not want to have glued that in, otherwise your door will not open. All right, so we're just putting glue along the entire outside, and I'm sorry that the bottom was cut off. I didn't realize it, but I will push it up. And here I'm just pointing out that I did not put glue there, and now we're just going to line up the bottom piece and check our sides and our top, and we should be gluing perfectly. All right, so just press it down, making sure that all your pieces adhere. Wipe off any of that excess glue that may have squeezed out. And you guys have assembled a 8.5 inch by 11 inch vending machine with a rear loading flap. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your time. I would love for you guys to drop me a comment. Let me know what you created. Send me an email. Send me your picture so I can spotlight what you made. I would love to do so. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to go ahead and hold this up. We are done. It should nicely open and close. There is your inside. Close that door. And I can't wait to see what you guys create. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day.